Okay, good afternoon everyone and welcome at School of Economics and Business. My name is Matea Bernauschak and I'm coordinating our doctoral program. At the start, I would like to welcome our dean, Professor Tomasz Tuk, and give him some welcome, let's say, address or words that he has for you.
Thank you, Matea. Hello, everybody. I hope that you are feeling comfortable. Welcome to our school. I'm very happy to be here today with you and that you decided to visit us and that you are interested into our PhD program. PhD program is quite a different beast in comparison to masters, for instance. What is the difference? The difference is that here at the master's level, you listen mostly to professors and so on. However, we encourage, of course, the discussions and so on. On the PhD level, you have to demonstrate your contribution to theory. So you have to show us that you know how to contribute to scientific theory. Okay? And the theory is, of course, an explanation about phenomena. So this is quite a difficult task. And during the PhD studying, you are not learning new concepts regarding specific topics and so on, like managerial topics or IT topics or whatever. But you are, of course, learning new ways and approaches in methodology, research methodology. This is the focus here. And I would say that this is quite a difficult task. At the end, when you demonstrate this ability to contribute to scientific knowledge, to scientific theory, you receive a special diploma which says that you are a PhD. And this means that you can be called a scientist, okay, in the exact sense. So yeah, this is quite an important journey for you, I suppose. It lasts some years. First years are more course-oriented and also very focused into finding the research topic that is interesting for you. Typically, during the PhD work, you have to use different things, different approaches from different disciplines. For instance, my PhD years ago was basically focused into modern IT networks like internet and so on. But in the core, I studied pricing mechanisms. So this was economics. Methodology was econometrics. So it was quite diverse, as you see. So this is expected from you. However, this journey will not be, of course, it's difficult and tough and so on. However, we have excellent mentors. Our mentors are esteemed researchers, and they know how to guide you in this journey. And of course, they will be with you towards the end, of course, of this journey and help you with all your dilemmas and decisions and so on. We also have an excellent team, our office for PhD studies, which is led by Petra Ramjas. She's a manager of our PhD program. They're doing an excellent job with helping our PhD students during this journey. At the end, once again, thank you for joining us, and I'm sure that we will see each other again in next month. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's continue with our Vice Dean for Research and Doctoral Studies, Professor Nocharsky.
Thank you, Matea. So good afternoon, everyone. Maybe before I talk to you about some things related to the PhD studies as to what the PhD is, a lot has been already said by our dean, Tomáš Turk, mostly about, let's say, what I will talk about is the motivation, why you should pursue the PhD for right reason, and what are the wrong reasons to pursue the PhD, and what we have to offer. In a nutshell, let me just tell you the schedule maybe of today. So after my brief expose, Matea will get to tell you all about our PhD, the program, how it's structured, the course structure, the coursework, the whole process, application, etc. Then, following that, if I'm not mistaken, we'll have our two almost finishing PhD students give you their first-hand experience from their PhD journey, which I think it's always beneficial to hear from them and not from us. And then I think we have a presentation of two additional interdisciplinary PhD programs that we have, but I leave that for the end. But first things first, as I said, also a bit of a welcome address for myself. I'm, as Matea said, Vice Dean for Research and Doctoral Studies, which means the Doctoral Studies is also part of my Vice Dean portfolio. And as I said, I'm not going to keep it long, but just maybe focus first on what is research and PhD all about. And here I'm going to borrow from a physicist, actually a Nobel Prize winner in physics in 1965, Richard Feynman. Okay, and actually I quite admire the man because, you know, he has something called Feynman principles, and I do suggest that you sort of maybe acquaint yourself with his principles, because he really puts it in sort of really useful in plain terms as to when do you acquire knowledge, what does it mean, etc., etc. But speaking of his principles, maybe first the quote, and I think this is the gist of any research. So to quote him, permits us to question, to doubt, to not be sure, never stop asking. So it's actually the opposite of saying trust something. I mean, the part of the trust is actually to doubt it. That way you can confirm something. Okay, so I think that's the gist of the research. Be allowed to question, to ask, not to be sure. And following on what our dean said, PhD is quite like, quote unquote, a license. License that proves you're able to conduct academic quality research on your own at a required standard. Okay, now, what does this entail? Well, first, borrowing again from Richard Feynman, curiosity and relevance. So if I translate this to the PhD journey, it's formulating the research question, part of the license. Secondly, deriving the proper research design. So identify what you want to research, and then the question is how to do it. So the research design, that's sort of a bit of a practical knowledge. Executing what you have as a research design means experimentation. Okay, so we need to have this children's curiosity that often gets killed in the educational process at some point between primary and high school, in my experience with our daughter. Interpreting the results here doesn't mean that you just need to taxatively just say what you found, but you need to critically think and question the results, okay? Writing up the report, that means expressing yourself, communicating what you discovered. And here we're looking for clarity and simplicity in communication. That's one of the Feynman principles. Explain it to me like I'm 5. Okay, then you really understand it, and others will understand what you're saying. And finally, doing everything based on integrity. Okay? So I think this is what PhD should be all about. So these are the right reasons to pursue such a path. Going down the rabbit hole, as they say in the US terminology, rabbit hole borrowed from Alice in the Wonderland. And PhD is about going down the rabbit hole. So these are the right reasons. Just earning the title, something to brag about, that's going to be the wrong reason, because I'll tell you later, to reach the end of the PhD journey, which is also going to be the beginning of your research career, takes much more than just a desire to hold the PhD title. Now, next to the shift in the research paradigm that we are able to observe over recent years. First of all, if you think about how universities traditionally operated, or still for the most part operate, we operate in silos. That means we basically focus on a discipline. Now, this on one hand allows for deep specialization in the development of expertise within a particular specialization or domain. However, it misses the big picture. It prevents interdisciplinary collaboration and limits the exchange of ideas between different fields. That's what traditionally happened. That's why if you look at the past 10 plus years, a lot has been done to sort of promote interdisciplinary approach in research. So this is something that you as, future PhD students, potential PhD students, should be interested. We are looking for collaboration, okay? Supporting collaboration, motivating collaboration across disciplinary boundaries to address what we have today are complex, multifaceted problems that do not fit within the confines of a single discipline, whether it's finance, marketing, management. We need to have a big picture. That's how we uncover new knowledge, new ties, new realities. Okay, so that's one thing, that we moved from silos to trying to sort of connect the disciplines. Secondly, typically the research, as our dean was saying, you had a particular model or a theory, and you wanted to see whether you can sort of refute that theory or, find supportive evidence. Actually, over time, what we increasingly more observe, we observe a move from this sort of what we call neoclassical paradigm towards something that's based on uncovering connections through the analysis of massive data sets, okay? So instead of, for example, and I'm going to borrow an example from physics, from studying weather patterns, instead of having this very complex weather model where you try to estimate and forecast weather based on the model, increasingly more what's happening is that you have a lot of observations from many points in terms of observing weather, and you try to use machine learning to uncover certain connections, connect the dots. So this is the second shift that we sort of generally observe what's happening in research today. Thirdly, the accessibility of knowledge, data, computational power, higher education. Many years ago, universities, PhD studies were reserved for only a few. Now, this domain has expanded, okay? That means that there are many more people engaged in uncovering these complex relationships. Having said that, that means that the PhD has, on one hand, become more accessible to everyone, but on the other hand, it means that we have to raise the bar, okay? So make it actually more complex. The research has to become, from that perspective, more complex in order to address these challenges. And finally, I put the R in the brackets. Some people see this as a revolution. In artificial intelligence, you can call it evolution. So that's the fourth element that, in my mind, sort of creates a shift in the paradigm of how we do research. Why do I mention all this? Because this is something that on your path towards the PhD, on the research path, probably you have to take on board when formulating your, research idea, or even before that, thinking about whether this is something that you want to do or not and how to pursue it. Now, next, what we have to offer as a school. Well, we talked about research excellence. So part of the research excellence means that you have, as a PhD student, prospective PhD student, show during the PhD journey, active engagement with research work, where we require that at least one part from your PhD is already at least accepted for publication in order for you to be able to defend doctoral dissertation and graduate. And we also provide a lot of stimulation for research work on that path. So, as already mentioned, we have a lot of excellent supervisors, professors with high research credentials. We have secondary databases, and also access to the knowledge stored in all these scientific publications. We also encourage you, when you have research to show, papers, working papers to show, to submit and present them at high-quality research conferences. We have a research seminar series. That means that you don't have to go out to the conference to meet researchers, but we bring researchers here, actually this classroom, to hold research seminars. The point of conferences and research seminars is not only to disseminate your work and learn from others, but mostly to network, to meet other researchers, discuss your ideas with them, discuss their ideas with them, and that basically makes you grow as a researcher. And obviously, we also have growing infrastructure in terms of labs. So last year we opened financial lab, which is just down the hall to the left, as well as behavioral laboratory. This, again, to support the interdisciplinarity of the research. And then if you look at what I think are handouts that you have, you can look at previous research achievements when it comes to your former doctoral colleagues and students. So next to that, this is what we also have to offer. So support you during this research and writing process. That means you develop academic competencies, okay? Help you develop your personal strengths, means your personal competencies in terms of how you communicate, how you present, etc. Create opportunities to network and broaden your horizon. Remember what I said about conferences, research seminars. So this is social competencies. And all this, the idea is, improves your chances on the job market, okay? Now, the pure academic job market means that you graduate here and then you seek academic work somewhere else, okay? Now, for most of you, probably you have maybe a different career path in mind, but when you talk about job market, it doesn't only have to be academic, it can be also the professional job market, because in many companies, they also seek, I would say, qualities, research, PhD-based qualities. So these are occupational competencies. Now, what is bolded here, I can't emphasize this sufficiently, we are only facilitators at the school, okay? And this is what I mentioned before. It is your curiosity, engagement, commitment, and perseverance, okay, that will bring you to the end of the PhD journey, which, as I said before, you should not see it as the end, the final point. It's just an intermittent stop. It's actually the beginning of your research career, not the end of it. So again, one of those reasons that I want to emphasize is the right reason why you want to pursue your PhD. Okay, so much for my motivational speech, okay? Now, go out there and get it. So thank you so much, and I give word to Matej, and I have to excuse myself and our dean. We'll have to leave you at this point. We have other things to attend to. So I wish you a productive remaining part of this information day, and hopefully see many of you then in the opening of the PhD this coming autumn. Thank you so much.
Okay, so you've heard a little bit about the overall goal and idea of enrolling to the PhD program, and now I'm going to talk a little bit about practicalities of our program, followed by some testimonies from our students. And then, as mentioned, we have other two programs to introduce. And finally, this was not mentioned before, we have some professors, some faculty from our school today with us, so there will be also some time for speed dating. We'll introduce them at the end of the session. We are everything recording online and broadcasting, so for participants who are online, the chat is not enabled at this moment, but we will be able to answer your questions after the formal part finishes up. Basically, our program is organized in two tracks. One is economic and the other one is business. Within the tracks, we have different majors. Economics has 3 majors, while business has 10 different majors. Let me just say a few words about the difference between the two tracks. So the economic track actually requires a very strong background in economics and mathematics from prior studies, because it's really quantitative oriented. So a lot of statistics, econometrics, mathematics, modeling, and techniques like that are happening there, and they are not at the applicative level. Many of them are very much at abstract level, so that's why we really when we interview our candidates who opted for economic track, want to make sure that they will be fit to follow the program. The business track presents, as I mentioned, 10 different majors. Maybe just to, in a way, make a short remark. Today, or for the last few years, we are seeing interdisciplinary PhD researches, which means that, for example, students who enrolled accounting, for example, are doing something at the cross with neuroscience or behavioral economics. Similarly, in management, students are using advanced tools that have been enabled by technological advance. Basically, what we are seeing here is not single track researches. And this is aligned with the trends of science in general. We are cooperating in when supporting our students, usually in supervisory teams. So many students have 2 supervisors aboard, and if the methodology requires that, then the other supervisor is from another field or has substantial methodological background. Our program is run in English, as you obviously noticed, which means that we also, when we form the evaluation committees for our students, we have the strategic orientation to have a foreigner aboard an evaluation committee. So typically, one member is from our school, maybe also the second member, or the second member is within university members, and then the third member is always a foreigner. The length of the program is 4 years with 240 ECTS. These ECTS are organized within 2 different clusters. One cluster is represented with organized forms of work. This would typically mean the coursework and visiting conferences and seminars. And then the other portion of ECTS relates to your independent research work. So here I have several slides, and these slides are all the program is also available on our website. But basically, you can see structure of the program through the years, first for the economics track and then followed by the business track. The main idea of the structure is that in the first year, most of your work in the first semester concerns the coursework that you need to do. And then also a small portion of work is related to research. We want you to start thinking about your research idea early on. That is why in the first year, in the second semester, usually in April, we organize the first seminar, the first research seminar for you, when you, in which you present, you do your first pitch about your research topic. This pitch is then commented by discussants from the field, so that the student gets, let's say, additional perspective, broadens horizons, and gets some comments and input to further develop the research idea, which is then presented by the end of the first year. This is in September. And this is mandatory to do if you want to progress to the next year. Next year, in the second year, there are certainly still courses, but in terms of ECTS, there is this year is less heavy on coursework, because you are supposed to start working on developing your research topic. And in the second year, you also need to formally submit your research proposal and, in a way, record your title. So you do that first at the school level, and at that point, you get the first meeting with your evaluation team. We call that a pre-defense of your research topic, and the evaluation team would typically give you or provide some additional feedback to further develop before you can submit your PhD proposal to the university level. So our university has a specific body called Committee for Doctoral Studies, and at this committee, basically all topics from all university members are centralized and reviewed and recorded. So this is after you have approval from them, then your title is official, and you have to complete your PhD within 5 years. The duration, or let's say the protection of the title, similar to intellectual properties for 5 years. The third year, usually students in the third year take some elective courses depending on your research interest, and then continue with the independent research work. This is then practically seen through visits of different workshops, conferences, and so on. And then the fourth year is dedicated to completing the PhD itself. Typically, students take additional year. This is the fifth year to complete. Of course, we have students who finish early. I think that our school record to complete PhD is a little less than 3 years. But in average, the average length of length of time the student needs is about 5 years and some months. So something similar with the business track. Maybe just to say a few words about the courses. We organize courses into 3 clusters. There are so-called theoretical foundation courses, methodological courses, and elective courses. Within these clusters, you have a certain choice to choose the course that you find interesting, even though for the theoretical foundations, basically, these are so extensive courses that there is not that much choice, because you are requested to do a minimum number of ECTS from each cluster. I think that in terms of the elective courses, you can see some ideas what these courses are here. There is a list of courses for this year, but obviously, personally, I think that the major advantage of our program is in a way in its flexibility. So along with the regular program, we also offer participation to different so-called doctoral schools. These are courses organized outside the program, and we offer each year 3 different schools. The first one is in cooperation with St. Gallen Institute, and it usually happens very early in January, around January 5th. This year was again in person. For some years, all doctoral schools were online due to pandemic, and then we also realized that this is the format that is specifically, in a way, fit for also international students attending. So typically, professors from all over the world would come to teach you methods, usually at the advanced level. And then we have a winter doctoral school organized by us. Again, this is a 1 week program, typically 3 to 4 different courses taught for 1 week, 4 hours per day. This school was online, and I think it will stay online. And then finally, in July, the 2nd and the 3rd week in July, there is a summer doctoral school, and again, we have professors from all over the world teaching usually methods. And students, I mean, from all over are also participating, so this is a great opportunity for you to expand your social networks. And this school is again online. Depending on the time zone of the professor, it's either in the morning hours, or if people are from the States, then this would be in the afternoon hours. In addition to that, we have different add-on intellectual extensions to the program. For 2 years, we have been cooperating with Central Bank in Banka Slovenia. So we offer, or we will offer, 4 different courses that are using methods that are specifically interesting for banking and monetary policy. So these courses are more targeted to economic students, and the best specialties in a specific topic would come in person to teach usually for a week. And finally, we've been thinking how to make our program even more international. So just in this year, we established cooperation with a French private business school, Rand Business School, and we are considering the option of offering a double degree to the students interested. So after completing your program, you would get a PhD from Ljubljana University, as well as from Rand Business School. Of course, there will be some demands, some extra work maybe, but not too much. Our Vice Dean already mentioned a rich source of resources that we have here in the school. So our resources are centralized through our Central Economic Library. We are paying access to more than 50,000 journals that you can, of course, then access through institutional username and password. And then we have many quantitative databases, specifically if you are access to them if you are interested more in quantitative data analysis. For students in finance, there is the important resource is a financial lab, and then many students are using for the last 2 years resources from behavioral lab. So we bought different equipment that in a way provides technological support if you are more interested in physical aspect of human behavior. So we have EEG, then different equipment following brain, and also some other devices. This is because we are finding, specifically in business and management, that the trend is going towards that direction. So the research findings, or the, let's say, robust conclusions and generalizations are less and less made on self-reported data from participants, from individuals, if this is the level of observation. Okay, so this is about the program itself. On the website, you can find access to Excel table with with the name of our faculty, and also potential topics that they are interested in. Of course, you can reach them via email, and usually faculty is also prepared to discuss some variations on these topics. But as I mentioned, we have several of them with us here today, and they will also shortly present their topics. As far as enrollment conditions are concerned, so this is decided by the law or by our Ministry of Education, who are the candidates that can apply to doctoral program. You need to have finished either of the listed second cycle programs. If you have a professional degree, then you need to do some extra exams before you can apply to the program. But in case you are unsure, Petra will definitely be able to respond to your question or concern, whether there is something needed that before you can enroll. How we select our candidates? So for the past few years, we have 20 open slots for both tracks. We could have a higher number, but we decided for quality, so that's why we aim to keep our enrollment, the number of open spaces, let's say, relatively low, because we want to ensure a good supervision. That's one, and because we also want to, in a way, have the best candidates to the program. The first selection criteria refers to your to how successful you were with your prior education. This is at the master's level as well as at the bachelor level. Then the other portion of selection criteria refers to oral exam. Everybody who is going to apply to enroll will be invited to oral exams, which will take place end of June, early July. And with this, the idea of oral exam is to get to know the prospective student in person, and also to talk to you, to see whether the motivation for you to apply to the program is the right one, and whether you understand what scholarly research actually means. So for each track, we have committee of 3 members, and then they do oral examination. They would typically come from the field that you're interested in, because at the point of application of enrollment you need to also indicate which major which track you're applying to and which is the major that you're interested in. Part of the documentation can be also your prior research work today, in case you have some research papers that are already published, or whether you have some other, let's say, recognitions of excellency. The application is always online through EVS portal. All the information will be also posted on our website. The important date to remember is June 21st. This is the last day when the portal for our program is open. So different programs at other members of university have different enrollment days. And of course, on this day, Murphy always works. In other words, the servers are, you know, there are many students trying to upload the documents, and it already happened that the servers crashed. So my advice would be to complete your process prior to this date. And then you will know by the end of July whether you're accepted to the program, and then the enrollment process will take place in September. The tuition fee is 4,700 euros per year, and it's for each academic year. This is 4 years and can be paid in 3 installments. So this fee would include all the material costs that we need to cover for you, and then also we cover registration fees to 3 different scholarly conferences and 3 different seminars or workshops that are outside the syllabus or outside the courses that we offer. Regarding the funding possibilities, so for some years now, university has in a way waived the tuition for students who were above average in their prior studies. This would mean that you would have average grade above 8. In this case, the university covered usually between 85 to 90% of the tuition. And it does that for all students at the university. We never know in advance what will be the percentage, because it depends on the number of all students across different university members applying to the program. So in the beginning, you need to expect that you will need to pay something for yourself. Then we have also a national scheme of young researchers program. This is funded by the government. This year our school received funding for 4 young researchers, and the names of the professors who have young researcher, I think they are already published, and you can also check and see whether you fit to the, let's say, research scope covered. For international students, they usually have some their funding from their own countries, and there are certainly some international scholarships available. Okay, so this is from me for now, and I suggest that we proceed with our presentations, and then at the end there will be Q&A session, and I will gladly respond to any questions that you have. So it's my pleasure to welcome Amadea. She just returned from a secret place. Maybe she will tell you a little bit more about it. And yes, Amadea, the word is yours.
Thank you. So hi, my name is Amadea and I'm currently in the 4th year of doctoral studies. I just returned from New Zealand, so I'm a little bit jet lagged. But yeah, I'm here also employed as a young researcher, and I'm happy to share my journey with you. So let's begin. So why PhD? Since forever, since I was a little girl, I was always curious. I was always asking lots of questions. Why? How? I always wanted to learn more. I like busy schedules. I like teamwork. And I also believe that investing in your mind is the best investment that you can make in your entire life. So PhD combines all of that. Here you really have opportunity to learn from the best, and not only about the research topics, but also about yourself. You really grow in a way that you never thought it was possible. So what can you expect from doctoral studies? You will learn a lot, read a lot, brainstorm, research, write, and by that I really mean a lot. There will be lots of sleepless nights, which you will spend with a cup of coffee, but at the end everything will be worth it. So there is also like the fun side of PhD, which is attending conferences and PhD workshops, where you can meet lots of amazing people, friends for life. You can share ideas and get valuable feedbacks. And yeah, have fun. One of the best feelings during the PhD is when you get your first papers published. This is really the time when you say to yourself that everything was worth it and that you really make some small contribution to your field. As a young researcher, I also have opportunity to work in some very cool different projects. So for example, one of them is humanizing digital work. You can scan the QR code and check it out. It's about disseminating knowledge. So what is the success formula to finish or to pursue PhD with a smile on your face? I would say that the first thing is curiosity. You really need to enjoy learning, and you need to be willing to learn a lot about your topic. So choose a topic that you really like. Then hardworking. There will be tough times, and there are no shortcuts. So be prepared to work hard. Also, you need to be resilient. Academics is quite a harsh field. You can get quite a lot of rejections and harsh comments, but yeah, it's all about how you bounce back. Then you really need to be open-minded, because you will get lots of different feedbacks from your mentors, colleagues, and also reviewers, and you need to learn from that. Then mentorship, here I would mention that you really need to choose a mentor that would fit with you. And by that, I mean that you need to choose a mentor that has some similar working style. For example, I really like to work freely and I'm very proactive, but I know that some guys need more instructions and more control, so just choose the mentor that can provide you that. And then do not forget to have fun. Don't forget on your family members and friends, and attend social gatherings, because you can have it all. And teamwork is a really key part. This is not a competition, but you can help your colleagues and learn from that and share. And by that, I was really lucky because I got one of the best mentors at the university, my teacher, and also some amazing colleagues who became really my friends for life. And last but not least, you're not a machine. Remember that your best will be different each day, and that is totally fine. Some days I feel like a rock star that I can conquer the world, but the next day I can't write one sentence, so everything is okay. And that's a wrap. If you have any questions, you can always ask me on my email. Thank you.
Okay. Well, so we have another testimony from Ivana. She will join us online. Online, she's on home. Yeah. Kako si si pa to zamislil?
Aha, evo, če boš ti slajde premikala, sem bi rekla, da nekaj rekla, da ne.
Okay. Okay, hello, Ivana. Can you hear us?
Hello, everyone. I hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah. We can hear you well. Thank you.
Okay, great. I have my camera on, but I suppose what's important is the slides. Any case, very good to be at least digitally here at my alma mater and talk a little bit about my PhD journey. So I graduated from the PhD program in November last year. This is a short summary of my PhD journey, the timeline that it took me to complete. So you will hear about these amazing urban legends among students who finished in 3 years, in 2 years, or finished before they were born. I wasn't one of those people. It took me, in fact, 5 years to reach the end. But here I am, and hopefully everybody who's in the room will also make it to the other side. So I enrolled in 2018, and I enrolled in the economics track. I worked under the supervision of my amazing mentor, Professor Jelena Zoric. And the first 2 years of my study, I do have to admit, it took me a while to gain my stride and to finish the course requirements for the economics track. I registered my topic in 2020. And then the real work really began. So it took me 3 years to write first and publish my article, and then second to complete my thesis until I finally defended in November 2023. So this would be in brief how it worked out for me, and I would have to say that I think that this is quite a realistic timeline in terms of how the course requirements are and the reality simply of the situation. I also was unlucky that the pandemic hit during this period, so it might take you a lot less than what it took me. If we could switch to the next slide, I would like to start with some very positive things about this experience. Some of them were already quite expertly highlighted by Amadea. So I'm not going to repeat a lot. It is truly a transformative experience. It is a journey of self-discovery and really expanding your horizons. What I really took from this experience are really the amazing friendships I made along the way and amazing mentorship, not just from my mentor, but Professor Zoric, but also from other members of our research group. This is mostly Professor Nevenka Hrvatin, then as well as other professors, other mentors that I had on this trip. Of course, the travel, the networking, and the exchange of ideas are a giant plus. And I do have to say, when you're at the end of the journey, this is a very profound sense of accomplishment. Also, there are a lot of little victories along the way. I still remember the first time that I was accepted to speak at the conference. There was a very enormous amount of joy for such a small event. The first time that my article was published, it was also a quite lovely experience. Of course, what shouldn't be forgot, or also the career prospects that come later, and also this logistical side of, being able to put a price premium then on your services. This is, I would say, if you are looking towards consulting, maybe particularly interesting. Of course, if you want to pursue a career in academia, then this is, of course, a necessary prerequisite. However, there's also the bad sides. This is not a time-saving exercise at all. So you can count that you're going to have a lot less time for your hobbies. This is also potentially can be a little bit of an alienating experience and an isolating experience if it happens that your circle doesn't really understand this process that you're on. I have to say, the first time that I tried to explain to my friends that I can't go out because I have to do a math exam at the ripe age of 28, I wasn't met with a lot of compassion. However, this is also something that passes. Also, if you're a functioning adult, might not be the case for you. For me, I'm super impatient. So this whole journey of waiting around, you submit something and then you wait for 3 months and then you don't hear from them. And then you're thinking, should I write? Should I not write? It can be a little bit excruciating. It does, however, get better with time. I also struggled a lot with imposter syndrome. I felt that, am I really the one that should speak about these topics? Is it really my place? Am I really who these people should listen to? This does not get better, in fact. But here we are. And you take it one step at a time, and then it can turn into a very positive experience. Now, in the next slide, there's some of the things that I did to maybe turn some of the bad sides into good sides. So this could help you out. What really helped me was a very strong support system that I had from my friends, from my family. It also helped me really to talk about all of the things that were bothering me, all of the things that were on my mind. However, it really helped me when I stopped comparing myself to other people. This was really an issue for me at the beginning of my PhD journey. So of course, my colleague Janez Dolšak, who I don't know if he's there, every research group has a superstar from your generation, you know? And so I just came to Slovenia. I don't really speak the language. I can't put 2 sentences together. I failed microeconomics. It wasn't going well for me. In the meantime, he's publishing 2nd paper, 3rd paper, impact factor, 3,000. It was excruciating. At the same time, you know, you would hope that at least he would be mean or arrogant so that you could at least hate him. Like a normal person. However, no, he's also the kindest human being you're going to meet. So yeah, that didn't work out for me. However, when I accepted that we're all on our own journey, that we have our own timelines, our own paths, this really helped me. This really helped me a lot. What also helped a lot is understanding that rest is something that is very productive. Amadea made a very good point. Your best on one day is not the same as your best on another. You should learn to give yourself some grace. And you should also learn that having a normal meal, tidying up your house, going and buying some groceries, these are not rewards for working hard. These are normal things that you need to do in order to function. So yeah, that was an experience. Additionally, learning how to set boundaries, how to say no to extra responsibilities is very important, and also learning how to ask for help. Additionally, first time that I was at the conference, I really thought that this is going to be like a cacophony of super helpful voices of people with the best intentions there for academic excellence. However, you know, there are some very mean people who I really feel their only goal is to bring somebody down, not really contribute to the discussion or to the idea at all. So yes, some people are just mean, and that is okay. If we could switch to the next slide. Some practical tips that I would have for you. This is going to require quite a lot of writing. I don't know what your habits are. For me, it really helped when I made a habit out of writing daily. So this could be as a journaling. You can find a lot of these little journals with simple writing prompts for every day. It really helps if you establish some sort of routine that this is really something that fits into your daily schedule. It's never too soon to start organizing your literature review. So if you download the citation tools, essentially when you start, I don't think it's a bad thing. You can use any. Mendeley works great for me, but I've heard people had good experiences with many other tools. Some time management techniques that could help you. For me, Pomodoro technique works great. Other techniques work for other people. This very interesting concept that I found when I struggled with writing a little bit is the proprioceptive writing, which consists of listening to these classical music for a short interval of time of maybe 5 to 10 minutes, and then writing literally the first thing that comes to your mind. This really helps me when I'm feeling like a little bit of a writer's block and I can't get the ideas out of my head. It can be a complete nonsense what comes out of you in the writing session. However, in the second draft, it already gets better. These tools such as Notion or similar second brain tracking apps are really good for keeping track in one place of all of the other information that you need. I don't know, restaurant recommendations, recipes, birthday, gift ideas, anything. A book that I enjoyed also a lot is How to Write a Lot, which is a very short book, thankfully. It comes with some really nice tips and ideas to help you in the writing process. And if English is not your first language, I made a habit of listening to some podcasts when I go on a walk. I love Philosophize This as a podcast first, because I'm a giant nerd. Second, because the podcaster really formulates his idea and articulates them in a very good way that also helps you how to build your arguments then later when it's time to do so. If we can switch to the next slide. In the end, as Amadea also said, you really shouldn't forget to have fun along the way. I really wish you the best of luck. I think you're on the journey of self-discovery. I hope the majority of you really decides to embark on it. In case you have any questions, complaints, comments, this is my email. You can also reach me on social media, and it was really nice to spend some time with you today. Thank you.
Thank you. We will just proceed at this point with our schedule, and yeah, we have 2 interdisciplinary doctoral programs to present, and I give word to colleague Mozart to do the statistics.
Yes, thank you so much. Now that 5 people try to convince you to enroll in economic or business track, I'm coming here and say, no, drop that, come to statistics. However, we do have quite many things in common. For example, the admission in terms of formal requirements are the same. That's why I will skip one slide. And also, you need to have methodological foundations. And let's say if you go into economics track, you will have the same course together with statistic students, like probability and statistics. But of course, then you will dedicate yourself only to methodological topics and not anything else. So why would you come to statistics? I think that the best thing of statistics is that you get to play in anyone's backyard. So you're not so tied to one scientific discipline. And maybe I started to feel real competition, brutal competitions even sometimes, only when I started working more closely with my economics colleagues. While in statistics, I think there is much more collaboration going on than elsewhere. And yeah, so all scientific disciplines are actually welcoming you because you provide support to them. So this is a good thing. And essentially, when I was listening to the presentations before, there is not so much difference in terms of the qualities that you're developing. So scientific thinking, critical thinking. You have to add a little bit of creativity also in statistics, because you are faced with new data sources, new data characteristics, and then you are going to develop something new. So a creativity moment also there, but otherwise problem solving skills are very important. And in the end, sometimes it's also important to have a bit of background in certain specific scientific field, like economics or business studies, because the data types and the problems that you're solving are a bit different in disciplines. And that's why we have different modules. We are covering business, economic, and official statistics, but other modules bring in specifics of data like biostatistics, where, let's say, the main method is survival analysis, because it's important to survive, right? And but this method is also useful for our field. Let's say the businesses need to survive as well. So these different modules also suggest that the program brings together the best statisticians that you have in Slovenia, and also we have foreign guests that cover certain topics. What are the technical details? We also have 20 places available. Usually they are not filled, I have to say that. So entering the program is not very difficult, but let's say that finishing is a bit more demanding, because one of the requirements is that you have to publish an article where you have to be the first author, and it has to be a journal in a journal with a CSI factor, which is usually a bit more demanding. So we are also a bit cheaper. The first year is equally expensive, but then it goes down a little bit. So maybe this is not so trivial, but of course do come to our program if you love working with data, because that will save you. Additional information at this address. And we do everything a bit later than here at our school. So the information session will be online on the 5th of June, or live at the Faculty of Mathematics and Physics that acts as our coordinator. So I think, yep, this is it. And I'll stay here if you need any more information. Thank you.
So we are a member of the second interdisciplinary program. This is in environmental protection. So just to mention a few facts regarding this program, it's again a very interdisciplinary oriented program where different members of university are participating in consortium. You can see the details in terms of the tuition fee per year. They will also organize their information session on May 15th. You can choose mentors from our school or from some other schools as well, in case you are interested in environment related topics. Okay, let me go back. So basically what you need to do is to again present a short research proposal idea that would be typically one pager of what you're interested in. In our school, Professor Andrea Zierman is coordinating this program, so in case you have maybe some specific questions, it's best to ask her directly. Now we come to the last point, last organized point of today's session. We have here with us some colleagues And I'm not sure, are you going to shortly speak up in terms of your research ideas, or at least show up so that the participants today will now recognize you and then be able to talk to you after this formal part is over.